Hello, it is Vix from Grow with Vix. I am a branding and Instagram educator, and I am so excited to be working with SumUp in the SumUp Academy to teach you about building a community on social media. Hello, I am back with SumUp and SumUp Academy to answer some of those questions that you sent me earlier in the week. Now, you sent me lots of questions about building your community on Instagram, so that is what I thought I'd cover. I've written your questions down, I've chosen a few, and we're going to dive into them. So the first question you asked was, how can I make my brand stand out on social media? And I see this in two ways. I see it visually and through your messaging. So visually, what I want you to do with your brand on social media is to pick yourself 2 to 3 standout colors, a particular font, especially on Instagram. You can use your Instagram fonts and filters, ones that become known to you, that when people see it in their story scroll or see it in their feed scroll, they immediately recognize, this is this person's content. Now, of course, it would be super easy to kind of see what's popular, see what's trending, and choose your kind of visuals based on that. But I want you to choose something that could be more unique to you. Now, I know not anything is, ever really 100% unique, but try and find something that, screams you and your brand, and that's how you'll stand out visually. When it comes to how you can stand out through your messaging, that's where you need to get really, really clear on a few things. You need to get really clear on who you are. Like, why are you here? What are you doing? What's it all for? Why are you building this brand on social media? Then I want you to get clued up on who you're for. Who are you speaking to? Who's your ideal audience, client, community, customer, all that lovely stuff. Who exactly is that person? And what do they need to hear from you? I think one really easy way to stand out on social media is to speak into directly something that people need to hear about. Some of the best brands who are standing out online are super clear on their messaging, plus they have that visual branding that really resonates as them, and that's how they stand out. I think in your community's mind, you always want to be top of mind. So when it comes to them thinking like, I need some help with this, or I want to learn about this, or I want to be entertained in this, or inspired to do this, you want to be the person that comes top of mind to them. And the way you do that is by the visual branding, but also speaking directly to them into what they need to hear, in their tone of voice. Make it chatty, make it like you're chatting to a mate. They are my tips for standing out with your brand. Now, the second question I picked was one that definitely resonates. It resonates with a lot of members of the Grow and Glow community. Is, I feel so uncomfortable speaking in front of the camera, but everyone seems to do it on Instagram stories. What do I do? Not very helpful advice, but just do it. No, but I think that the more you do it, the less scary it seems. It was probably a year ago, I was still not speaking on stories. I was just kind of taking a picture of my face or like different things and kind of just putting text up there. But I do think actually speaking to your audience, I've also got a really good reel that talks to you about where you should look so that your eyes are looking directly at your audience. Speaking to them does build that extra bit of connection. So a couple of things you can do is you can jump on stories, you can record, you can save, and you can delete. And do that a few times. Just record, save, delete. But I do really encourage you to press publish, to post that first story of you speaking to camera. Instagram have made it easier now because they've added the auto captions as well. But when you first press post, and the stories go out there and you can see that people are watching them, and hopefully you get some replies and you don't die, you realize it's not actually as scary as it may seem. Another great thing to do is to grab a couple of friends, people that are perhaps in the same niche or industry as you, maybe even some previous clients and customers, or maybe some pals online, and go live on Instagram and do like a live room. You can do that with up to 4 people now, but that gets you used to speaking on camera. But if you're doing it with friends as well, it doesn't seem as scary. So give those few things a try. Okay, so my next question was, how do I get better engagement? No one really replies or answers to me. And let me know if that resonates with you, because I hear this a lot. Sometimes I think that this goes really back down to not knowing who your audience or community are and what it is they need to hear. So sometimes when you use the polls or the question stories and you ask a question, or you put a poll up, it might not be something that your audience are actually really thinking about, they're interested in that time. It's not really something that's like crossed their minds enough for them to want to answer it and engage with it. But the more you get to know them and you get to know what is on their mind, what they're thinking at that moment, what's going on for them in their world, you can then tailor those kind of engagement stickers to that. Another thing that I see a lot as well are questions using the question box or the poll, or, not necessarily a poll, but more like the question box that are really hard for somebody to answer. So for example, what do you want to see from me? Well, if they're your mate, they just want to see you and they want to see what you're up to. They want to just see your face because they like you. But if there's somebody who don't really know you, it's really uncomfortable to answer like what they want from a virtual stranger. So I always advise steering clear of that type of question. That type of question is really hard to get an answer. It's also really difficult as well because with some questions that we try and use on Instagram, they require people to do like a lot of thinking, a lot of soul searching. And, people might not have the time, they might not have the interest. So you really have to try and choose those open questions, but the ones that are easy to answer. And on polls, the ones that it's a really clear yes or no type question. A word of kind of encouragement on this as well. Like when you first get started trying to get engagement on Instagram using like the polls and the stickers, you are going to have one person answer, two people answer, no people answer, and you are going to think like, oh, this is really hard, nobody's listening. But eventually it will be more. The more you grow your audience, the more you get to know them, the more you understand, the more you kind of really tune into the discussion points and what people want to chat about, you'll just see it pick up. Nobody ever started using these polls and question stickers with thousands and thousands of replies unless you were already like a huge celebrity when Instagram started using them. So don't be discouraged. Keep at it. And the more you do it regularly as well, the more your audience will get used to the fact that you like interaction and that you're inviting interaction. So yeah, just keep at it and eventually you will get those replies that you're looking for. Okay, so another question I got asked, and I get asked this one a lot, is there are people doing the same thing as me, they have the same brand as me, niche, business, whatever as me, how do I compete? So I don't particularly like the word compete. I know that we have to use it sometimes, talking about competitors, that's the easiest way to kind of explain it. But I think it's more about collaboration. You should be thinking rather, how can I compete? How can I collaborate? In this past, say like 3 to 6 months, I've built a community on here of fellow educators around branding, personal branding, Instagram, social media. And rather looking at them as like, oh, how can I do what they do better? Or how can I, get their audience? Or how can I beat them at what they're doing? I'm thinking, how can we come together? We have the similar things that we're doing. We're serving the same people. We have similar ideas. How can we bring them together and reach a wider audience and more people? There's also an element there of really understanding, your own lane, like who you are, who you're for, what you do, and what makes you unique and you special, and focusing more into that and sharing more about that and more speaking about what sets you apart rather than what other people are doing. I think when you focus more in that positive way and get excited about what you do and what you offer and your brand or business and how it can serve people and how it can bring joy to other people and how great it is for your audience and your community, when you focus your energies that way and less towards there are other people doing me, how can I compete, shifting their energy a bit, that helps to set you apart as well. And going back to what I said earlier in the video here around getting your branding in line so you can stand out in your messaging, in your voice, in what you do and what you say and how your brand looks, that is all going to help you see other people and how great it is for your audience and your community. When you focus your energies that way and less towards there are other people doing me, how can I compete, shifting their energy a bit, that helps to set you apart. And the last question I had was, who should I be talking to on social media? So that is all the way back to the beginning of your brand strategy and business strategy around who your ideal client and customer is, because that is who you should be talking to. I know it can feel a bit tricky when you think that the only people that are following you are your family, your friends, or maybe other people who are doing something similar to you, but you really need to understand who that client and customer is so that you can speak directly to them. I hope answering these questions has been helpful. I've really enjoyed partnering with SumUp and SumUp Academy. I've left some more info in my story, so you can go and check out all of the other experts that you can get access to through the Academy. Let me know if you have any other questions in the comments, and I will chat to you very soon. Bye.